Ladies and gentlemen, I'll call the meeting of the Rockingham County Board of Elections to order. The purpose of this meeting today is to count the provisional or approve the provisional ballots. The Rockingham County Board of Elections operates on approved agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, you have the agenda in front of you. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Before we start with Ms. Seamster, could I have a representative from each campaign to come up here to certify that there are no ballots in the machine and that the count is set to 0?
You can see the 0 tape and y'all can look at that. See the zeros all the way to there. The count is 0. There's nothing in the emergency bin.
All right.
Nothing in there.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, at this time, we will turn the meeting over to our director, Ms. Paula Seamster.
The first thing I'm going to do this afternoon is explain what a provisional ballot is. And I'm probably going to read this so I don't mess up. But a provisional ballot is essentially a backup ballot that allows someone to vote even when there's a question about their eligibility at the polling place. The key idea is that no eligible voter is turned away, and election officials verify the voter's eligibility after Election Day before deciding whether the ballot can be counted. A provisional ballot is issued when there is uncertainty about a voter's eligibility, such as their name not appearing on the voter rolls, missing or incorrect ID, or questions about the correct precinct. It is required under the Federal Help America Vote Act of 2002, or HAVA. The ballot is filled out like a regular ballot, but instead of going directly into the tabulator, it is placed in a special envelope and set aside until election officials complete their review. Common situations include the voter's name is not on the registration list, the voter is at the wrong precinct or has moved without updating their registration, the voter lacks required identification at the time of voting, there's some other administrative questions about the eligibility. State law requires that voters must be offered a provisional ballot rather than being turned away. Election officials research the voter's eligibility after the polls close. If the voter is confirmed eligible, the ballot is counted. If eligibility cannot be confirmed, the ballot is not counted. Election results are not finalized until all eligible provisional ballots are reviewed and included. This process ensures that administrative errors or record issues do not prevent someone from voting. They serve as a fail-safe to protect voters' rights. Even if something goes wrong, an outdated registration, a clerical error, or a missing ID, the voter still gets to cast a ballot while officials sort out the details.
Sir, before you go on, can I clarify or ask a couple of questions? These votes are sealed at the polling place?
They are.
And they remain sealed today?
Yes, they do.
And they will not be opened until after this board approves or denies them to be counted,
That is correct.
and then they will be opened and presented to the machine to do the vote tabulation. Is that correct?
That is for the approved ones, yes, sir.
Thank you. You can continue on.
Okay. The first provisional voting reason we have is the driver's license, social security number provisional, and I'll just explain a little bit about that. I know most of you have seen it on the news or read it in the newspaper, but the North Carolina's Registration Repair Project is a statewide effort to fix incomplete voter registrations so that election officials can verify each voter's identity and keep the voter rolls accurate. The core issue is that tens of thousands of registered voters are missing required identification numbers, either a North Carolina driver's license number or a DMV ID number, or the last 4 digits of their social security number. These numbers are used to confirm that a registrant is who they claim to be. The State Board of Elections launched the Registration Repair Project to collect missing ID numbers from the voters whose registration files lack them, and to bring voter rolls into compliance with state and the recent court rulings. They also resolved a federal lawsuit involving the U.S. Department of Justice over incomplete voter records. The project affected a large number of voters. Estimates range from 70,000 to more than 100,000, depending on the stage of the review. Missing IDs don't remove someone from the voter rolls, but they do affect how their ballot is handled. If a voter with incomplete registration goes to vote, they may be required to cast a provisional ballot, and this is the case that we will be going through. After the election day, county boards must verify the voter's identity before deciding whether the provisional ballot counts. This can delay or complicate the counting of the voting ballot, but we have gone through, we have 46 that were in this category, and we have been able to validate all 46 of those individuals. And I'm going to read those names, and then I'll present the envelopes to the board. Is Emily Jane Anderson, Timothy Wayne Bailey, Christopher Bradshaw, Ashley Michelle Bullock, Jason Carr, Austin Paul Carter, Craig DeMond Covington, Michelle Cox, Kyle W. Crawford, Amy Beth DeWitt, Jonathan Calvin Edwards, Marie Ann Edwards, Michael Dean Fincher, Charles Henricks Finney, Gerald Gantzer, Michael Jared Gartland, Marcia L. Gillett, Vicki Hopkins Grubbs, Khalid is Khalid, Tyreek Hayes, Bradley Phillip Hill, Sherry Lynn Hill, Christopher Lee Hopper II, Hatcher Ray Hutchins, Jessica Diana James, Torrin Rayshawn Johnson, Brooke Nicole Joyner, Michael Shea Kennan, Michael Edward Lee, Jarrett M. McBride, Emily McCants, Paul Anthony McCants, Carol Williams Neal, Michelle Robertson Pascal, Edward Hunter Purdue, Kendall Dawn Powell, Renee W. Quate, Trevor Alexander Shelton, Shaylin Elise Shoemaker, Gloria Kendrick Smith, Lonnie C. Sorrell, Rebecca Wolford Stillwell, Rick Allen Webb, and it may be Rick, Guy Mark Webster, Summer Michelle Wales, Woodland May Witchard, Barry D. Wimbush. Those are the 46 names.
Ms. Sangster, for clarification, Mr. Webb, would you spell his first name?
Yes, it's Rique, and the middle name is Allyn Webb.
Thank you.
And my recommendation, I did not say that, is to approve these 46 individuals' provisional ballot.
count them to be sure that it's 46?
I do.
That's 10. That's 10.
There's 46. I'm assuming you want a motion to approve these
Yes, sir.
before we move forward to the next batch?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you've had the opportunity to review 46 provisional ballots. The recommendation from the director is to accept them to the count. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Second, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like to do all the provisionals that are approved in the DS 200 at one time, or do them as they are accepted?
I believe I would like to do all of the approved, and then any that may be, your recommendation is to disapprove, do them together.
Okay. Okay. Well, then I will move them.
So you're
Pleases
saying,
the board.
so you're saying all the approved go in at one time, and the disapproved, of course, are set aside,
Any, in the categories.
Yeah.
Yes.
the recommended categories.
Right.
Go
recommended
in at least
approval.
46.
Well, she's not going to count them. She'll count them at the end.
At the end.
I assume, Ms. Seamster, you're going to count all of these ballots at the end of this meeting, once they're, the approval process is done. Okay.
Yes. Provisional voting reason is ID not provided, exception reasonable impediment. The first one is Crystal Harris Clifton. She lost her purse, and her driver's license was in that, and she is still waiting on a replacement. She did fill out a photo ID exception form explaining that, and I have it actually sticking out so you can pull that out and look at that. The second one is Kimberlyn Hoskins Langford, and she just got her driver's license, and she is waiting on her permanent driver's license. She has the temporary paper, so she also filled out a photo ID exception form for that reason. So with these two, I am recommending approval.
Ms. Steemster, could you clarify, just for everyone's benefit, that you were able to identify these two people? I saw that we had their driver's license number, and just let everybody know that you were able to do that.
That is correct. We were provided with their driver's license number, and we did verify that those driver's license numbers were validated. They are theirs. Thank you for the question.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've reviewed 2 ballots. The recommendation from the director is to approve them. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Continue on, Ms. Simpson.
Provisional voting reason is ID not provided, no exception form returned with ID, and that is for Kathy Stone Vaden, and she did bring her driver's license by the Board of Elections office, and you will see that, and I am recommending approval of this one.
Ms. Seamster,
Yes, sir.
I believe that out of all of our provisionals, we had one that needed to come to our office to show an ID. Would this be the one?
That is the one, yes, sir.
So that person did cure. They come in there. In fact, we're getting ready to vote on that now. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct, yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Ladies and gentlemen, you've reviewed 1 ballot with the recommendation from the director to approve. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I am going to approach the board and move those over to the approved. Okay, the next provisional voting reason is incorrect party. I have some that are recommended for disapproval, and I have some that are recommended for approval, and I'm going to ask the board which you would like to hear first.
I believe that the approvals are the lesser amount, so let's do those first, and then we'll do the unapproved, that you're recommended be unapproved.
Okay, I have 6 that I am recommending approval for. The first is Elizabeth Folger Apple, and the reason for this is she actually changed her party affiliation in January, and it was not changed in the system. Therefore, that's the reason why I think she should be counted as an approval.
Now, Ms. Seamster, can I ask a question?
Yes.
When you say it wasn't changed in the system, is that our system, the state
is our
system, or
system.
DMV?
It was a staff error.
Thank you.
The next one is Michael Aaron Baker. And let me find the reason. I had a reason on here. Oh, I'm sorry, it's right here in front of me. He's actually unaffiliated, and he went to one of the ones that went to the ballot station. He requested 1 ballot. When he got to the ballot station, he did not want that ballot and wanted to get a different ballot. So when he went back, they had him vote provisionally, but he is unaffiliated, so he had the right to choose which ballot he wanted.
Now, Ms. Seamster, I believe that you and I have had some discussion about this. It was the state board's recommendation at your training that once a person secures a ballot, walks away, that is considered an act of voting. But in this case, this person was issued another ballot at his request. He voted provisional, and the state board has recommended approval of that. Is that correct?
That is correct. I do have an email from the State Board, Adam Steele, dated March the 4th, that they do recommend approval of these. We have a couple of these.
Thank you.
The next one is Russell Lee Collins. Same thing, unaffiliated. He wanted one ballot, and then after looking at that, wanted a different ballot. Charles Edward Johnson. His voter card is correct. And for some reason, they didn't allow him to vote by what he was actually in the system. So this was precinct official error. The next one is Sarah Ellington Lambert. And this one has been in our system for a while. And she did change her party affiliation, and she should have been allowed to vote the ballot that she chose. And I will also say, it is on the staff to make these corrections, but the voter also gets their voter registration cards, and it does say on there if there are any changes that need to be made, to make those and send it back to the office. So, but I am recommending.
I'm not clear on that one. So it was correct in this,
No,
the card, but they didn't have the,
no, this one, it should have been changed in our system, and it was not changed. This one is actually from 2022, so it's 4 years old.
gotcha.
But we did find that in our records that the person was registered the way they wanted to vote. And then the last one is another unaffiliated that chose one ballot, changed their mind, and wanted the other. So I am recommending approval of these 6, and I will bring these over.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have 6 ballots in front of you that you've reviewed that Ms. Seamster is recommended for approval. Do I have a motion to approve these?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Okay, left remaining in this category, we have 28. They are affiliated with one party and wanted a different party's ballot. We have gone through the SEAM system to make sure that they were actually affiliated by what our records show and that there were no mistakes made. We also went through the Division of Motor Vehicles Provisional Research Report from November the 1st of 2024 through February the 6th of 2026 to make sure that they did not make any changes with the DMV without us getting that information. And we've also checked the state board's website to see how they were registered on their site as well. But my recommendation on these 28, and I'll go through the names, and you can read the back and the front, how they're affiliated and what ballot they wanted. But you may proceed with the names.
So just for clarification, let me make sure that the public understands this. A voter appears and they request a particular ballot, but they're not entitled to that because they're registered with a different party.
That is correct.
And you've checked our registration, the state's registration, and DMV.
Yes, sir.
And all of those state that they are the party that we have them listed as. Is that correct?
That is correct. And just for an example, we did not have a libertarian ballot this past election. We had several libertarians that wanted to cast a ballot. We do not turn anyone away. So they would choose either a Democrat or Republican ballot, but they would have to vote provisionally. That's just one example. Okay?
You have a question?
Mr.
Yes.
Chair?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Seamster, would you like to clarify, just for the benefit of everyone, you mentioned you had the DMV report through February 6th to 2026, that was the final date, that they had to be registered by that party by
Yes.
that date?
We do have a party affiliation deadline, and it's the same as the registration deadline, which is February the 6th. After that date, during early voting, you can change your address, your name, anything else but your party affiliation. Your party affiliation has to be changed prior to the deadline of that voter registration. And for the 2026 primary election, it was Friday, February the 6th, 2026 at 5:00 p.m.
I have a question. I'm
Yes, go
sorry.
ahead, I'm sorry.
When they vote, can they not fill out a party affiliation change, but it just won't be changed before that election is completed?
In some of these cases, they did, but in other cases, they wanted to remain the same party affiliation. They just wanted to vote a different ballot. But yes, they were given that option.
I have one more question, Ms. Seamster. The Libertarians, it is permissible in the state of North Carolina for the Libertarian to vote in either the Democrat or the Republican ballot for the primary as the unaffiliated?
The Libertarians, no.
Okay.
They
So-
have to do a Libertarian ballot because that is the party they're affiliated with.
And in this case, there was no Libertarian ballot.
That is correct.
And I thought I understood you to say that we allowed them to vote a provisional ballot. It will be up to us to deny that based on.
Yes, that is correct, because they did not have a ballot that was for their party.
Thank you.
All right, but these,
I'm sorry, Mr. White has a question.
It's more of a statement than a question, but I think it's worthy of saying here because I did witness a voter that thought they were a party that they were not registered as, and I've received phone calls and texts about some of that, and I understand the passion, especially when you're associated with one party, but I hope that people will take this as a time to understand why it's so important to double-check your registration ahead of time in various things. And as well, for the Libertarian, I understand they didn't have a primary because they've got people who will be in the general election, but they didn't have anyone challenging them in their own party, which is why they didn't have a primary vote. And I'm surprised by how many people don't know that, so I just think it's worthy of saying out loud here.
Thank you.
Proceed on.
Okay. So I am recommending disapproval of the 28 incorrect party provisional ballots.
Did you read the names?
Used to reading names. Okay, the names. Charles Joseph Avis. William Jeffrey Bennett. Gregory Burren Bray. Clyde Walsey Burris. Ethan Wesley Cooley. Shirley Walker Friddle. Roy Edward Goins. Summer Leanne Griffin. Brandy Beasley Hairston. Timothy Hairston. Timothy Al Hamilton. Melinda Hill Hudson. Chad Wesley Hundley. Caitlin Grace Huss. Johnny Dean Isley. Brandon Sebastian J. Susan Beth Knight. Austin Dale Lemons. Joyce Laws Logan. Michael Francis Logan. Jennifer Arthur Lovelace. Tammy Hand Manuel. Ryan Craig McCullum. Michael Edward,
Michelle.
thank you, Michelle Sr. Ashlyn Nicole Sandel. Sarah Lucille Shore. Michelle Ann Wesley. Dennis Wayne Worley.
Ms. Seamster, for a point of correction, Clyde Walsey Burris Jr. as junior.
Junior, yes. And you'll note there are some that say that they changed their party affiliation, like February the 24th, February 26th. Those are indicated on there, and they're in queue to change those after this election is finalized.
8. 10, 10, and 8. 28.
Gentlemen, you've had the opportunity to review 28 ballots that are recommended by the director to be disapproved. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The next provisional voting reason is incorrect precinct, according to the State Board in numbered memo 2023-04. This must be counted approved by the board. All of these voters are assigned to one precinct, but for one reason or another, they went to another precinct. It could be that's where they work. It could be that they were on duty and that's the only one they could get to at the last minute. But I will call out the names. Do y'all want to know the precincts? I'm prepared to give that if you want that information.
I don't believe that would be necessary.
Okay, all right. The first one is Richard Lewis Cheshire. Cheshire. It's 26 of these, by the way. Wilbur Emery Chronister, Diana Lynn Crowder, Jessica Pegram Ellington, Mark D. Evans, Mary Ella Farrell, Jewel Strader Harris, Garland Kermit Hilliard III, Marvin Nathaniel Hutchins, Stephen Dwayne Jackson, Jonathan Neal Kennedy, Chesley Long, Dustin Wade Long, Pamela Denise Long, Sheila Lovelace, Bradley Sean Mitchell, Stephen Daniel Mulligan, Teresa Ann Mulligan, Dean Stanley Page, Robert Ray Perkins, Will Edmund Schiffers, Evelyn Catherine Sitch, Tina Hall Sizemore, Donald Carlisle Smith III, Zebulon Ross there's several names, Zebulon Ross Cornmon Williams, and Joanne Young. I hope I said those names correctly, but I am recommending approval of these 26.
Ms. Seamster, for the record, would you spell Will Edmund Shipers? It would be the way I'd pronounce it. Would you spell that last name for the record?
Let me see.
On page 8, second from the bottom.
SCHEIPERS.
26. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've had the opportunity to review 26 ballots that the director is requesting that we approve. Do I have a motion to approve these ballots?
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ms. Seamster, I believe in the next category, you have some recommended for approval and disapproval. Let's take the low number first, the approvals.
Provisional voting reason, no record of registration. We have a total of 19 in this category. I am recommending 5 for approval and 4 for disapproval. The 5 for approval, and I will give the reasons as I read their name. Leanne Capps Artis, and she's actually an active voter and has been an active voter, so I'm not sure why she had to fill out a provisional ballot. Jill Deneen Crabtree. She was an early voter. She should have been allowed to register and vote the same day. She is active in Guilford County. I did call Guilford County to see if she voted, and she has not voted. They checked their ATVs, and so I am asking for approval for her as well. Her driver's license does have a Rockingham County address.
So for the public's information, would you explain what an ATV is?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. It's an authorization to vote. That is the form when you check in at the check-in station that they have you to sign to verify that the information on there is correct, and you carry that piece of paper to the ballot station to get your ballot. The next one is Jeffrey Marlon Phillips. He was in our SEAMS system, but not in the SOSA system. So I'm recommending approval for him, as well as his wife, Lori Ann Phillips. Both were registered, and they did meet the deadline to register prior to voting. And the last one is Joseph Ryan Rassett. And in the system, he was listed as inactive. I think they thought this was a DLSSN, but in fact, all they needed to do was activate him. So that's why I'm recommending that he be approved as well. So these are the 5 that I'm recommending for approval.
Ms. Seamster, before you leave the mic there, on the Phillips there, you rattled off several letters there that I'm sure the public doesn't understand what you're talking about. Would you explain that to them, please?
Okay, I'm sorry. Our SEAMS is our voting system program. The SOSA is the early voting program. With early voting, you can register and vote the same day. If you did not meet the deadline of February the 6th, you have another opportunity to register in North Carolina during the early voting period. And it is a minimum of 13 days that you have to do that. Like I said, you can register and vote the same day if you have your proper identification and can prove that you are a resident in Rockingham County.
Thank you.
Sorry about the acronyms.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you've reviewed 5 ballots that the director has recommended approval on. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we have 14 that I'm recommending disapproval, but you as the board can approve or disapprove whatever you feel is the right thing to do. The first one is Randy Daldy, and the reason that I am recommending disapproval is he has never been registered in Rockingham County, and he is currently registered in Guilford County. And you will see that information. I'll pull it out for you. Joseph Michael Cross.
Ms. Simpson, back up, please. May have been some confusion on part of the board, but that was Randy Brawdy, B-R-A-W-D-Y, correct?
Brawdy, yes,
you.
sir. And the next one is Joseph Michael Cross. He was never registered in Rockingham County. He had registered in Surrey and Stokes County, but both those counties he was removed. And most of these were all on election day. If they had have registered during early voting, that would be a different situation. But the rest of these voted on election day. And during election day, you are not allowed to register to vote.
Ms. Seamster, is it appropriate to ask now why he was removed from 2 other counties or when that happened? Is that in the documentation we'll receive?
It does not.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You want to know? But there's several names, but you'll see his. The next one is Ronald Gary East Jr. He registered in Rockingham County on March the 10th of 2011, never voted, and he was purged by the state board on January the 6th of 2021. And like I said, he's never voted in Rockingham County. And he has not registered since 21. But that information is here. And again, it is entirely up to the board whether you approve or disapprove. The next one is Landon Michael Emery. He is currently an active voter in Alamance County. He has never registered in Rockingham County. Ashton Jane Gullickson. We have that on October the 18th of 2024, this person moved to Cascade, Virginia, and has not registered back in Rockingham County since that date. And we have a new voter registration form to register. And is ANIA, middle name KACHE Hairston. On November the 30th, 2018, moved outside the county. This person is an active voter in Durham and actually voted on the November 2024 general election in Durham County. Jonathan Yale Kim, not registered in Rockingham County, removed from Guilford, no other registration, not in queue, not on the DMV list. And I do need to back up. All of these were checked with the DMV list. They were checked with the state board's list, and they were checked in our system to see if they were removed, active, inactive, all of the above. The next one is Clifford Isaac Lester. He's active in New Hanover County. He does have a registration in our queue from February the 21st. Michael Keith Martin, never before registered in North Carolina. The DMV registration form is in queue, but it's from February the 13th. And again, the deadline was February 6th. Victoria Renee Mast, never registered in Rockingham County, shows inactive in Yancey, and voted an absentee ballot in Yancey County, November of 2020. Kara Price, never registered in Rockingham County, was previously in Guilford, and it still shows as active, but there are many Kara Prices, so you can look at that list. William Nicholas Ragland, he was removed for not voting in 2 general elections on January 3rd, 2019. We do have 2 DMV registrations in queue for February the 11th and February the 28th. Shamika Chantel Williams. We do have a Division of Motor Vehicles registration form dated February 24th that is in queue. Allison Mariah Wilson was removed on January 3rd, 2017. She moved from the county. We do not show her registered in North Carolina, nor do we have her in our registration queue.
14.
14. Ladies and gentlemen, you've had the opportunity to examine these ballots. The director recommends disapproval on these. Do I have a motion?
I have a few questions.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Seamster, I have my own personal strong opinions on things like purging, but I'm not going to make any votes off of my opinions. I want to be clear on the law on that. And so there are at least 2 here that were purged that apparently they didn't know they were purged. So what's the laws around how people get kicked off the voter rolls? Because I have a huge problem with it.
Usually it's after 2 federal elections if they do not vote in it. One of those they registered in 2011 or 2013, never voted,
Right.
never.
And the legislature passed a law saying to take them off if they haven't voted, or that's a policy that was created by Board of Elections?
I can't answer that. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I can find out the answer and get back with you.
Yeah, I can't vote to disapprove without having a clear understanding on those 2 for sure. And then there's another one that just said, and I think you gave more of an explanation but when Ms. Gullickson, it just says removed, but do we have a reason why that one was removed?
If you'll let
that
me
I
see that
missed?
one.
That was also the case for Ms. Wilson. When I looked, I saw them removed, and I knew that you gave more of an explanation, so I wanted to ask about those 2 again.
I could see those, if you'll hold these.
Let me just give you all of them, and look through there and get them.
Yes.
We actually received an NCOA card saying she had moved to Cascade, and if
Okay.
you will look
Yes.
in there, you're supposed to remove them.
Okay.
All right, the Wilson, and I did not say what it was by. Wilson. The Allison, she moved from the county. We received
Okay.
a NCOA card back on her in 2017.
So, Mr. Chair, on the 2 that have been purged, without having some clarity on whether they've been purged by a law or a policy, makes a huge difference to me. How do we go about finding that out?
Well, I think, Ms. Seamster, the State Board of Elections has made it clear that if they're not registered here, no matter what the reason is, they're to be disapproved. Am I correct in that?
Well, if it has been a purge within a certain period of time, I understand we had to look at that as a consideration. I don't know the law on that. But like I was saying before, we've got one individual that, and let me find it here.
While you're looking, could you give me the ones that we would be disapproving because of purge?
That's what I'm looking for. Yes.
Ronald Gary East Jr. and William Nicholas Ragland, I believe.
Look inside the sleeve and see the blue.
Okay.
On those 2, has to see them.
The Ragland, we do have a registration form in our queue, but it is dated after our deadline. So that individual has registered, but they were removed in 2019. The East, it was on the registration books for 10 years and never voted.
So if it pleases the board, since there's some confusion, Mr. White has some issues with those 2, I would suggest that we move those 2 and vote on the other 12. and then we'll take a vote on each one of those separately. Mr. Ronald Gary East and William Nicholas Ragland.
Can we pull the sheet, there's a sheet inside with information on, can we pull the two sheets from those two? To see
Absolutely.
if that will clarify something that Ms. White,
It just has removed on it.
okay.
Now, the Ronald Gary, now this is junior.
Senior and everything else.
He was actually removed twice, but the last one he was removed on was January 6, 2021. So that is included if you want to see it. The last one was the 21.
Let's just do that. No, neither. Okay, so do I have a motion from a member of the board to remove Ronald Gary East Jr. and William Nicholas Ragland from this vote, and we'll vote on 12 that the director recommends denial, disapproval on?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, you have 12 that you have reviewed outside of the two that we're going to vote on separately. Do I have a motion to accept the remaining 12 that the director recommends for disapproval?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Now, in regards to Ronald Gary East Jr., do I have a motion to disapprove or approve him?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to disapprove.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed by like sign.
No.
Motion carries. William Nicholas Ragland. Do I have a motion to approve or disapprove?
Motion to disapprove.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion carries. I believe your next category, but unrecognized address geocode issue.
That is correct. We have 7. 4 of these is a new construction, so that was not in our geocode system. We were not aware of the new construction, new subdivision. So on those 4, I am definitely recommending approval. They did register during early voting, so they should be allowed to vote. They do have residency here in Rockingham County and did provide that information. The other 3, the precinct officials were not able to find the street addresses. They are in the system, but of these 7, I am recommending approval, and the names are, Carol, and middle name is Petrocchko, Faggy?
It's fact.
It is Fag?
Yeah.
Okay. James Blackwell Hawkins III. Jane Wilson Hawkins. Noah J. Hawkins. Preston Claire Hawkins. Jason Lee Joyce. Jenna Strader Pascal.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've had the opportunity to review 7 ballots that the director is recommending for approval. Do I have a motion to approve?
Submitted.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the last category, provisional voting reason, unreported move. We have 2 individuals that lived in one part of the county, moved to another. It just did not update their registration forms. And those 2, and I am asking for approval. The first one is Blake Matthew Brown, and then Dawn Cruz Tuttle.
It seems to these 2 voters have voted in Rockingham County. They've just moved without reporting that to the board. Is that correct? Ladies and gentlemen, you've had the opportunity to review 2 ballots that the director has recommended approval on. Do I have a motion to approve?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I'm assuming that this is already taken care of, but I don't want to work on assumptions. So the one said something about moving and changing affiliation. I assume the affiliation change was taken care of differently?
We have an application for that, and it will take effect after this election.
But it did not come into play in this? Okay.
Did not come into
great.
play into this one.
Just said change. It
So
didn't say
moved.
changed.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, according to my calculations, we have 95 approvals.
That's correct.
So may I have permission to start opening these provisional envelopes and inserting those into the provisional DS-200?
Do I have a motion to allow the director to open the ballots and begin the count?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Those two.
You might need to say that.
Yeah. What do you have before that? The 7 and then the 5.
When me want to.
Part of those were just.
Of the 5.
Just for the benefit of everyone, Ms. Seamstress said she's only opening the ones that have been approved.
Someone seems to have a question, but I don't think we can take questions.
And just so you know as well, if we have any issues with the DS-200 accepting these ballots due to creases, we do have extra ballots that will be replicated, and at that time, if this has to be done, we will ask someone from each party to come forward. Hopefully, we will not have that issue.
seat in here. If she had two people over there, she'd be that much faster. I'll just check to see and see what she's.
And what just came up, this is a blank ballot. It says to return or cast. I'm going to cast it because it was approved by the board. This one actually says for U.S. Senate Representative or Republican, 2 candidates were chosen and only one was allowed. It says return or cast. I'm casting the ballot. And what happens in that case is neither one of them will get a vote.
They voted for 2 candidates for U.S. Senate. Neither candidate will get a vote. What is it they want to do?
The ones that said removed, they were removed from the system, and it belonged.
I did. I read through it last night. I'll go back and look what she's doing.
Just got a text.
If they've been removed and they've maintained. It was because she was previously removed as part of the room from this maintenance action. That's what it says. Provisional. It says they remain, the county should verify that there's no evidence when our elections has indicated that the voter in fact resided elsewhere. The voter's written verbal information regarding their continuous residence sufficient to confirm ongoing eligibility absent evidence and official records to the contrary, and the county board must approve the provisional application.
That's a separate issue.
No, that's being removed.
It's being removed. What I'm saying is that I don't think those two.
So, hey, we're gonna go back and discuss those two that were removed.
No, the second guy
It said they were removed. We're gonna go back and discuss that because it's in here. It says if they've maintained continuous residency in the county,
Usually in
they're
this
eligible to vote.
And it doesn't surprise me that he registered and didn't vote at all.
Since we did not approve them, they're not being voted on now.
He's in your party, not mine.
It's on page, it's number 3. It says removed due to list maintenance. Read it and see what you say. The burden approves on us to, and if they say they've maintained continuous residency here, that's sufficient to confirm ongoing eligibility.
But that's why she had those sheets in there. If you look at those sheets inside that was surrounded by them, it had information.
But see, I don't,
Voter status removed. Okay, does,
Just got a text that her mics are hot. Somebody just texted me and said they can hear all of us talking.
this cat is already complex.
Ask Water to look at this. Ask Water to look at this. Okay.
Yeah, some of them.
Ms. Seamster, before you read the results of that, there's a matter that we need to go back and resolve, okay? Just to make you aware. That's fine. Hey, don't start running the tape until we, okay.
They believe that stated that they hadn't.
I don't think so.
Others that she did. East. Until I get back, resume.
We have one with unreadable marks. We'll come back to this one. Mr. Chairman, can you ask a representative from each group to come and you come?
Have a representative from each campaign come to the voting machine.
Not the same one.
This one, it wouldn't take it for unreadable marks. I have not looked at it, but it could be an X, it could be that it's not circled dark enough, anything. But just do not take a picture of this ballot.
I can't see anything.
Okay, because
No, I got
I'm
you.
going to darken it in front of you as the witnesses. Okay, and you see why. It did not take it. All right, so all I'm going to do, and I want y'all to watch me.
Hey, gentlemen, we're going to revisit the two ballots.
ballots that was moved. I found some information in
Okay.
the board's rulings that may affect that.
Okay. Thank you.
So y'all, we're okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
The ballot count is now 95.
Yes. Ms. Seamster,
Yes.
would you please pull out the ballot of William Nicholas Ragland? And Ronald Gary East, Jr.
Oh, those are. That's- Okay, I have those.
So those are the two that we just discussed because they had been removed from the voter rolls, is that correct?
That is correct.
If you would go to numbered memo 2023-04 to paragraph 3. I'll give you some time to get to that.
Which page?
Doesn't have a number on it,
Okay.
it's paragraph 3. It says removed due to list maintenance.
Yes.
I'm going to read this. A provisional applicant may not appear on the voter rolls because he or she was previously removed as part of a uniform list maintenance action. Examples: biannual list maintenance. If the voter has maintained continuous residence in the county, the voter remains eligible to vote. The county board should verify that there is no evidence within our election system indicating that the voter in fact resided elsewhere. Example: move within the state, move out of the county. The voter's written or verbal affirmation regarding their continuous residency is sufficient to confirm ongoing eligibility. Absent evidence in official records to the contrary, and the county board must approve the provisional application. Do we have evidence to prove that these two voters have moved out of the county at any time?
We do not.
We do not. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, do I have a motion that we approve these two voters based on the clarification from the board, or is there discussion about this?
So moved.
So I have a motion and a second. All in favor of including these two voters in the vote count today, say aye.
Aye.
Now we have 97.
I think it's just confusing if you're going to remove them. If you're going to remove.
We now have 97 as the public count. So I would, go
It
ahead.
seems, sir, if it'd be proper, I'd like for those two representatives from the campaign to come back and verify the count on the machine. Are you gentlemen satisfied? Ladies and gentlemen, do I have a motion to allow Ms. Seamster to proceed with the vote?
So moved.
Second.
Aye. Say aye. Hey, all in favor, say aye. Somebody else on the line?
the data together.
Oh, yeah.
It will run 2 copies.
You want to come to your desk and read it? Let me just say, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Seamster is going to read off the results. Keep in mind that there's more races than the Senate race, although that's very important, and I know that's what the majority of you are here for. But be mindful that there are other races that would be affected by this provisional ballot count as well.
All the races or just the
Read
one
all
where-
of them.
Okay. For U.S. Senate, Democrat, Farrow, 0. Justin Dews, 0. Roy Cooper, 12. Robert Colon, 0. Marcus Williams, 0. Oric Quick, 0. Going to the U.S. House Representatives District 5, Democrat, Creedmoor, 3. Chuck Hubbard, 9. Court of Appeals Judge, seat 3, Democrat, James Weldon Whalen, 6. Christine Marie Walczyk, 7. County Sheriff, Democrat, John Farrell Jr., 5. Franklin Moore, 8. U.S. Senate Representative Margot Dupree, 1. Richard Dancy, 2. Donald M. Don Brown, 5. Michael Whiteley, 43. Elizabeth A. Temple, 3. Michelle Morrow, 8. Thomas Johnson, 8. U.S. House Representative District 5, Republican, Virginia Fox, 49. Roman H. Chad Williams II, 6. Joseph Joey Osborne, 8. Steve Gerard, 8. Court of Appeals Judge Seat 1, Republican. Michael Byrne, 27. Matt Smith, 35. NC State Senate District 26, Republican. Philip E. Philberger, 26. Sam Page, 56. NC House Representative District 65, Republican. Seth Woodall, 55. Reese Pirtle, 21. Joseph Gibson III, 2. Board of County Commissioners, Republican. Houston Barrow, 31. Greg Ziegler, 21. Paul C. Wilson, 9. Kevin Southard, 32. Lee Shelton, 9. Charlie Hall, 26. County Board Education at Large, Republican. Philip Butler, 42. Kimberly Thompson Hairston, 37. SYNTHYA Penaloza, PENALOZA, 17. Kimberly McMichael, 43. County Clerk, Superior Court, Republican. Kelly Stanfield Carter, 22. Abner M. Bullens, 54. County Sheriff, Republican. Darren Wright, 21. Billy Parker, 34. Brian Arbor, 23.
That completes our count. Ms. Simpson, is there any more business to come before the board?
The only thing is that I ask is that y'all sign these tapes before you leave today.
With that, I'll seek a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.